So here we are with Leslie from
POSH Organizing.
Yeah. And we met a while back. We're back again. Tell me a little bit about your business. I'm a huge fan of it. In general, I don't think people realize what it can do for your life, for your sanity.
Yep.
So let's jump right in.
It can be life-changing, honestly. But so I'm a professional organizer. And what we do is we help people downsize and declutter their homes, setting up systems and getting them organized. And POSH actually is an acronym for Personal Organizational Solutions for the Home, but that's too long. So it became POSH Organizing. And that way, everything that we do is tailored to the person specifically, because not everybody thinks the same way. So when we're working with you, I need to know, how do you think, how do you categorize all of that, and then create systems.
Because and it's very intimate, right? Because like it's you're about to rearrange people's stuff.
Yep.
So you need to kind of come in and, understand so that they're not freaking out. Where is this stuff, right? Is that kind of how it starts?
Yeah. When I go into a home, more often than not, the client is always like, I've been up all night. I'm so nervous. I'm so anxious. I'm so, they just don't know what to expect. And I always tell them, we're not going to let go of anything that you don't want. But it is a very intimate process.
When are they going to call you? Is it what is that friction point that you usually find that you're helping?
When they are so overwhelmed, they call me. Often they're calling me in tears.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, I've tried to get organized. I don't understand. No one understands why I can't get organized. I should be able to do this. And I'm going, getting organized is not necessarily a skill everybody has. It can be a learned skill, but it's not like it's in our DNA that we know how to. Some more than others, but others no. And there's people that are chronically disorganized. So we help them get organized, but we'll set up a system for people like that, for people that are chronically disorganized, but they still need a maintenance. It's like getting your car tuned every 3 months, to kind of any backsliding, get them back on track. So it's just not something that is innate to everybody, but it's when they're hitting that breaking point and they're going, I can't live like this anymore. I just need help. I'm just overwhelmed.
And it's a lot. It's also just time too. You're probably
Absolutely.
just helping people, after they're able to keep up with some of it, but then it's like, okay, let's try to reset everything again. So do you have a lot of clients that you're coming in routinely?
Not a lot. I will have some that I go back to, but I mean, it's not like I come in one session and we're done. I mean, you think about it, you got a whole house. So often it's just not, they'll call me about the kitchen or the bedroom or the toy room, and we'll work on that. But then it's all other places in the house.
Right.
So you systematically work through the house. And I always tell people when they call me, I'm going, okay, what's the pain points? And what's the area that gives you the most angst? That's where we're going to start, so that you're like, oh my God, I can do this, because it's not fun.
Right.
If you think about it, we have so much to do. And if you have a choice to go on a walk or let me sit here and, declutter my house, you'd rather go on a walk, right?
What's the biggest room typically?
Kitchens and pantries, which I love. So fun. Toy rooms, bedrooms.
Yeah.
The kind of the areas where you spend the most time.
Yeah.
The toy rooms, especially if you have kids, there are so many toys. People are just overrun with it.
Yeah, and all the relatives want to just keep buying more toys for the kids.
Offices are big because of paperwork.
Yeah.
People are just so overwhelmed with paperwork. So that's a big one.
So the kitchen's, you're saying, one of the bigger ones. How do you tackle a kitchen? What is your first, let's go step by step, because I think this is probably everybody's.
Yeah.
It's like, and the thing is, with a kitchen, you can kind of hide a lot because you just kind of just throw it in the, so how do you, what's your how do you tackle it?
The process. So the first thing I love to do is I want to see the whole house. Because as I'm walking through the house, I'm looking at the space and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is available, because if I need to shift things around, I'm already categorizing it in my head, what's available, what space is available, how are they already setting the house up. So we do that first, and then with the kitchen, we bring in tables, and we'll just start deconstructing it,
Wow.
taking everything out, like all the cups out, all the mugs, and saying, okay, this is how many you have. What do you really need? Like, is there some that we can let go of? So we keep the ones that they want, and the ones that they let go, we put aside for donation. And we just go through the whole kitchen that way. And then we look at how do you, how do you function in the kitchen? I always ask, do you use that crock pot? And if you say no and we're tight on space, well, okay, I remember there's a space downstairs, wherever in the back hall that I can put that crock pot, right? So I'm thinking of other places to put things that would make sense. And then as we go through it, we figure, okay, this makes sense to have all your utensils or whatnot. And I bring a lot of organizing products with me because it gets the job done quicker. I'll tell the clients, this is what I offer. If you want it, we can use it. You just pay my cost. If you don't, no big deal. We'll use whatever you want.
Right.
It's totally up to the client. And then we just organize it up. But I'm a real fan of the clear acrylic because it just gives everything a space and a place.
Yeah. And you can still see through it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That first step is get everything out on the table, right? And I would imagine people are like, I didn't even know I had that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We have duplicates that we forgot, right? Because again, if you don't have, this is where this goes, you just shove it in a drawer, right? It's kind of like the same thing. People are like, oh, that's my junk drawer. And I always joke, no, we're going to make it a drawer of purpose.
Yeah.
Because then everything has a space. Like here's your pens, here's your chargers, here's whatever. Yeah. It's not just a mishmash of everything.
Right.
Everything's got a spot.
And then, so the kitchen, how much are you kind of organizing it now for cooking and are you trying to think about the functionality? So you should have your pans and your pots near your stove. Cause I know, I think I notice it the most when you go to like an Airbnb or something and you're like, well, the coffee maker's over here and the coffee cups are over there. And it's,
you want it to make sense.
Yeah.
If I have a coffee pot, I want to be near the water. I want to have my coffee mugs and all my coffee supplies right in the same area so that I'm not walking all over the kitchen. Right. Collecting things.
Yeah, you haven't walked a marathon for when you've cooked.
10,000 steps.
Yeah, just to cook breakfast. So kitchen, and I think but now you're also looking and saying, hey, if you have that ancillary like party stuff or the crock pot that's going to come out once a year, you're also looking for like overflow areas. So I love the holistic thinking of the home because not everybody has a big home. So now you really have to, if it's an apartment or something, you really have to look for other areas. So now you've done that. Where else would you put kitchen stuff? Let's stay there.
It just depends on the house, right? They might have a back hall that they don't utilize and that we can put in. I mean, closets are great, right? But closets, when you look at any kind of room, people just tend to put things on the floor, so on the surface, but you have to think vertical. So especially with closets, one of the things I use a lot of is the cube system. There's a 6 cube. Each cube is like 13 inches, but it's one whole unit that we put together. We put in closets. I have it in my house. And, so I have in the back hall, I have my paper bags. I have my reusable bags. I've got my oil overflow. I've got that air fryer that I use rarely, but it's there, so it's easily accessible. It's not a space that I'm using, so I put it there. Because you think about the kitchen, right? Like, this, prime real estate. You always have to look at things at what's prime.
Right. Yeah, so try to get stuff vertical, so, do you buy a lot of this stuff online, or do you think, can you go to like the normal stores to pick stuff, for these
Well, I have, I buy it and I have literally I have 5 racks of all these, I have about 30 different sizes of the clear acrylic bins that I have in stock. So when a client says, yeah, I want to use that, or I know I'm doing a kitchen and they think they want to use it, I just bring every size because again, until you really declutter and edit down what you want to organize, you don't know what you need. So I always tell clients, don't go out and buy all those organizing products people love to. It's fun, right?
Right.
I'm going to get organized, but you're wasting your time and money because you really don't know what you need until you've gone through it all and you've edited out.
So that's good. So I mean, that's even, but and you see that like people just go and they buy all the totes and all the different stuff, and then that just adds to the clutter,
Right,
you
right.
know, because they're all empty.
Right.
So really, you don't buy anything. And obviously bring you in, but if they're doing a DIY type of thing, you're going to spread it all out, and then think about what you need to put in and the sizes, and then go out and buy.
If they want to
do the
that,
opposite.
Right. If they want to do that, absolutely, we'll talk about it. And like, okay, this is the stuff, you have X amount of long, like you have to look at it and go, what's going to fit?
Yeah.
But most stores don't have it.
Yeah. Don't go to Home Depot and, go to the end aisle where they're showcasing some Tupperware stuff.
No.
And just grab whatever. 'Cause
No.
it's going to create more of a problem.
Right.
So kitchens, a lot there. What's your next, room that you typically tackle?
Let's see. Kitchens, pantries, toy rooms, a lot of toy rooms.
So now you have to
bedrooms.
deal with the kids though too, right? So you have to.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Some kids are great. I mean, when they're younger, they don't need to be in the process. But as they get older, you just don't want to let things go, let it disappear on them, because then they're going to get upset.
Yeah.
So we work with kids a lot, and I'll tell you, they love it.
Yeah.
Because and not that you're going to let them steer the whole ship, but they will give you, you want buy-in. Whenever we work with kids and their rooms and everything, you want buy-in of how they want to organize it. And if it doesn't quite make sense, you might be like, hey, have you thought? And they're like, oh yeah.
Right.
But they love it. Like some people think, oh, my kid, they're not going to get rid of anything, but they really, they embrace it.
Gotcha.
And I tell people, kids, when we say, clear your room or, put away the toys, they're not made to put away a whole room full of toys. And I've had parents go, well, now that we did this, we spent all this money getting it organized. They're not going to keep it clean. I'm going, you need to show them. You need to be part of the process. We have to lead by example. So
yeah, let them feel the accomplishment of putting the toys away too.
Exactly.
That's part of the playing. So, and do you do like kind of, if there's a space thing, like kind of that cycle of, hey, we're going to put these toys in the closet, maybe put these away.
The rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause
some people really like that, but but I also tell people we have more than we need. I always equate it to, one year, Christmas time, my brother, he wrapped up 12 tennis balls for my dog. She was so excited. She ripped it open and then she didn't know what to do.
Right.
She was frozen because she's like, I can't put 12 in my mouth. And so she just stood there.
Yeah.
Same with too much stuff, overwhelm.
Yeah. They won't even miss it.
No.
Most of it.
Yeah.
So do you still recommend, the same type of what I guess, what do you recommend for, say, a toy room? Is it the same kind of, acrylic, or is it,
It depends on the client, right? Do they want baskets where they can't see it? But again, my thought is if the kid can see it, if this is where the match cars go, when they're putting it away, they know, okay, the rest of the match cars have to go in it. Versus baskets, when you get things where it's woven, what you can't see.
Yeah.
So it's easy just to throw everything in, and then your organization has just gone away.
Right.
So, but it's always dependent on what does the client want.
Yeah.
Right. What's the vibe of the space that they want?
And I feel like there's a lot of vibe. I would imagine your clientele, they want it to all look nice.
Yeah.
So it's I was talking with Nick. People don't want to have their home feel lived in. They don't. It's like, come on, guys.
You need to have
here.
it. Yeah, you can't have it picture perfect.
Yeah, it can't. We're talking about how, the color. Everything's kind of gotten lots of grays, and it's very sterilized. And it's actually we're coming back to more of a maximalism is the new trends for interior design. So we're gonna, it's more colors and more textures and more is instead of this kind of nothing on nothing.
Yeah.
So kitchens, and then you have the toy rooms, the playrooms.
Yep.
And even for the safety of the kids and everyone around, let's get the Legos kind of
Yeah, you don't want to step on those.
off the
They
floor.
hurt.
And what? So let's just stay in the kitchen. And how many days does this? It obviously depends, but what's probably the people that call you need you. What typically is it?
We can do usually a kitchen in a day.
Yeah.
So I have a team, right? I have
Yeah.
employees, so we bring them. We can be 2 of us, 3 of us, 4 of us,
Yeah.
and we can just get through it really quick.
Yeah.
So
you just
we could do it in a day.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Yeah. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want the client there the whole time?
I want the client. They don't have to be there the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to, great. I love it. But they cannot just say, do this and then walk away, because they have to make decisions. Again, we have to decide, what are you keeping as we go through all those cabinets, all the drawers, everything. What are you keeping and what are you letting go? And then we have to decide and ask those questions. We are not a company that just goes, go away and we'll organize it, because honestly, I don't know how you, what you eat, what's your favorites. I had a client who, we actually did a lot of organizing for her, and we came back and we were doing the kitchen, and every time we clean out a cabinet, we're going to wipe it down. We're not going to put stuff back, right? So I'm like, oh, I need to get some cleaning solution. I go in the closet to get the cleaning solution, get some towels, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And she's like, oh, I hate it. I hired another organizer, and she goes, yeah, I had her do my pantry, and she just told me to go away, and the stuff that we eat is really high, and they weren't tall people, and the stuff we don't is all down here, and you need to have involvement. And I tell people, if you need to work, that's fine. We can do all this prep work, but I need you to come in and then make the decisions, and then if you need to go away, great, and then come back. But you just can't. I'm not going to say, oh, we'll take care of it, come back in 4 hours.
Yeah.
You have to be a part of the process.
Yeah, you're trying to make their life easier, not having a scavenger hunt at the end.
Exactly.
So trying to figure out the stuff. So what in that process of letting stuff go is what I can imagine is there, did you make sure the spouse is there to make sure everybody's on the same page, or, I would imagine there is you have stories that there's been throw that out type of thing.
Yeah, often. Well, yes and no. Yes, I always tell people when I'm working with the wife, you can't throw away the husband's stuff, or vice versa, right? If it's not your stuff, and if there's some husbands like to cook, well, they need to be involved. If they don't, then the wife can make that decision. Yeah. But you just can't get rid of somebody else's things. That's an absolute cardinal no-no. Yeah. Absolutely. Because then you will cause major issues.
We have a fun time in remodeling and decisions, making sure somebody says one thing and then the other person gets home and they disagree with that decision. So we're familiar with playing referee.
Yeah.
And trying to make everybody happy.
Right.
So you've got the kitchens, you got the playroom. What's your next big room, and how do you tackle it?
The bedroom.
Yeah.
Probably the bedroom, and they have walk-in closets. Love helping them with that. But again, it's all about getting rid of the stuff you don't wear. It doesn't fit. It's it needs to be hemmed. It's got stains. Like getting rid of all of that stuff. And I tell people, clothes, we wear 20% of our clothes 80% of the time. And I remind people of that. I go, you have to think about, what you're comfortable in. I mean, when we meet again, I'll be dressed similar like this because this is where I feel comfortable. Right. And so, I tell people, we get your closets organized, you organize it by however they want, but often it'll be like by category, sweaters, and then the colors, the shirts, long sleeve, 3/4, etc., and colors in between each of those groups. Then you can see what you have and see what you need. And so I tell people, when you go shopping, I go shop with intention, not for entertainment. If instead of going out shopping, go for a walk, go to a movie, hang out with a friend, do something. Don't go shopping, and when you go and you're just going to do it, you're like, oh, this is such a great deal. and then you bring it home and you're like, oh, it doesn't match with anything. I don't like the way it feels, and you don't take it back and it just fills your closet.
Yeah. So you're going in there and you're like, all of these clothes still have the tags on.
Yes.
It's probably,
Right.
you should probably donate them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, clothes and shoes. You're absolutely right. I think when I think about even my closet, it's just like, you're like, oh, I'll probably wear that. No, you're not going to.
Right.
It's been like 5 years.
And that's the thing. We ask a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a client, she had me come in for her closet and she's like, I'm not getting rid of any of these clothes. And it was in another closet. And I'm like, all right, you don't have to. But then as I started asking the questions, oh, well, how old is this? How long ago did you get that? Oh, I got it on this trip. Oh, so do you wear it? No, I haven't worn it. I haven't worn it in 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Take a picture. Or you probably have pictures on your trip with you in it.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep that physical item, let it go. And literally, I filled up my truck with bags. And she's like, you're the clothes whisperer.
Yeah. Do you feel like you just have to get them up over the edge and then it kind of goes?
You have to ask a lot of questions, right? And because initially, when you start going through things, people are like, I want it. I need it. I want it. I want it. I want it, right? Versus, okay, why do you want it? Why do you need it? If you can tell me why, then all right. But if you can't, and if it's just that instinctual reaction to say, I want it and I need it, we get them to think beyond. And it's, I'll tell clients, I go, I'll ask you probably the same question 5 different ways, just so that you start thinking differently. It's kind of creating that paradigm shift.
Yeah, I love it. More of a psychologist than. And then I would imagine once they put all right, here's the giveaway pile. Then it's once they do that first piece, then it's like, oh, this felt really good. Let me do all of it.
I've had clients where we've done a room and they're like, oh my God, I feel 50 pounds lighter. They're like, I didn't realize how much weight was on me because of the stuff, right? Stuff weighs us down. Clutter weighs us down.
It does. And it creates a feeling in the house too. Like, it doesn't allow the energy to move. So the bedroom clothes. Yeah. Cause I feel like, there's a whole industry making you buy more clothes, so
sales.
It's
oh my God.
Yeah. It's you understand why people have way too many clothes. So the kitchen, you go to the playroom, the bedroom. And is there any tricks in the closet? What are we doing for, for any products that we can use for organization?
The bedroom, I always bring, like, there's pending if they have shoe racks, but we even use bins inside drawers. Again, giving everything a home.
Right.
So we will, like,
so you keep the socks in one section.
But like if you think about like bathing suits, right? Really floppy. You can fold them up, but then they flap. But if you give them a container that, yes, I can fold them, and then it can maintain.
Yeah.
Versus just kind of spilling all over. But we use containers in dresser drawers.
Right.
Again, we'll use the cube system in dressers. We'll put a dresser in there if they want. Just depends on what the client wants.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I like that, because then if it has its container, you're gonna make that little extra step to be like, all right, I'm gonna put this back here instead of just throwing it in the top of the drawer. Right.
And when we do, I was just talking to a client on the way. When we do, anytime we do the clothes, I don't want to make more work. We don't want to make more work for the client. So we need to understand, okay, what do you do with your t-shirts? Do you want them folded up upright so you can see and they're all lined up like that in a drawer? Or do you want them flat? Or do you want to just throw them in a cube because you can't be bothered? Yeah. But we're not here to make more work for a client. We need to figure out, like, how do they function the best? What's going to work for them? Do they even like a dresser? Some people don't even want a dresser. They just want, give me a cube system, give me those fabric cubes. I'm going to throw my socks in one, my underwear in the other, whatever. I'm going to put my jeans. So you just have to really, do I need a bunch of hooks? It's all dependent on the client.
Yep. Yeah, and sustainability, right, too.
Yep.
So like they're going to continue
absolutely
to be able to handle it instead of, you rolling all the t-shirts and,
right. What's the system that works for them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Closes are a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the main rooms, and I think that probably alleviates the immediate friction because they're working in all that. But now I mean, there's still, you have the basements and the garages,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
attics, and I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
got to be,
Yeah.
that's a bit more, right?
Yeah, but that's fun too.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we will set up if the client wants, in the garage, we have the track system.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of the same process going through, getting rid of, and then, okay, we're going to hang, let's set up some systems to hang it up, get it off the floor.
Yeah.
I had a client who was really resistant. The wife wanted it. It was her birthday present from her parents. He was really resistant, and I asked him probably 4 or 5 times, "You sure you don't want the lacrosse or hockey sticks hung up?" No, 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 it's okay in the bucket. I'm like, all right, no problem. We install it, and he goes to me afterwards, "Can we get more of that so we can hang up the hockey sticks?" And I'm like, absolutely. But it's a process for people,
Yeah.
right? Some people, it takes a while to kind of get on board and realize.
And to envision it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, we work in a lot of houses too, remodeling, and it's like we try to say, we want to stage a lot of if we're going to do a kitchen or bathroom, we're going to want to stage all of our products in the garage so that, all the special order items are there. We can inspect them before we actually demo, so we're not disrupting. And we'll open up people's garages and be like,
Can't walk in.
can't even walk in.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, what are you guys doing with all this stuff?
Yeah.
It's a real, I think it's consumerism is kind of a problem. I don't think people realize it.
Right. If you think about it too, if you have something and you don't know where to put it, where do you put it? Attic,
Yep.
basement, garage.
Yeah.
Those are your 3 places generally and garage is easy. You just walk out versus, basement, you got to go down the stairs, attic, you got to up the stairs.
Yeah.
So the basement or the garage rather just becomes that catch-all.
Yeah. And then you're parking one car in the garage, and then you're parking no cars in the garage.
Right.
Yeah. So the attics are probably, basements though. Do you kind of do something different with the basements based off of, I think a lot of basements can be moldy and mildewy. So do you have any kind of tactics of making sure stuff's stored?
Yeah, if it's, you don't love to store something when it's like that.
Yeah.
So if it is, then you want to have, the bins that are sealed if you're going to keep anything down there.
Right.
Yeah, you honestly don't really want to keep much down there.
Just that might be a good way to say, hey, listen, you got to throw this stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've gotten rid of them over the edge. Say, okay, they're giving stuff away. What do you do with it? Do you have some good? Does the stuff get donated? Do you bring it? Yeah. So what's
absolutely? Back when COVID hit, I had a client that had hoarding disorder, but the switch got flipped and was letting things go, and it's so easy for people just to get a dumpster, and I'm going nope. And so I worked on that for probably 3 months. I mean, it was like just me because it was COVID, and just systematically went through, recycled tons. Actually, back then I actually sold it on Facebook Marketplace for her. I'll never do that. That is such a, for me personally, I don't want to spend my time on it.
Yeah.
And people think everything's worth so much. And I'm going, it's a lot of time for that $5. Right. So I'm not a huge fan of dumpsters.
Yeah.
So we try to recycle, reuse, donate wherever possible. There's lots of great places. One of the things that we do when we're working in toys, in playrooms, the good toys, if they want to get rid of it, we donate it to a local toy store. She sells it, and then that money gets donated. Once a month, I'll donate money to different, I'll say, what's your charity of choice? And then we'll just kind of pick it out of a hat, and money will get donated that way. I donate it to when people have a lot of health and beauty products that are new and that they don't want anymore. I donate it to the Strive program at the YMCA for girls,
Nice.
right? So that's really great. Schools, like books and all the art, pencils, anything you can think of. I have a connection to the schools, like the Hartford schools, and it'll get dispensed there. So we try to find places everywhere, and then Goodwill. You know, they reuse everything.
And I think that's probably helpful for people that are right there. They're about, they're willing to let it go. But now if you can say, hey, it's going to it's going to actually be used.
Yes.
Instead of sitting in the back of your closet.
Absolutely.
And, help out somebody in need.
Once they hear that, with, how you go into the homes and there's all the brown furniture, right? And no one wants it. Like the younger generation doesn't want that. But I have a nonprofit that they come in for a whole truck. I think it's like $200, and they will come in and take all the beds, the dressers, everything to set up a house, and it's awesome. Like even people who have stuff that could be worth something, they're like, I'd rather donate it there.
Yeah,
it's going for a good cause. So once you tell somebody that, they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, let's donate. So it's always nice.
Yeah, that upcycle. We even do that sometimes with kitchen. We were there this morning doing a kitchen, and some people just wanted to change the color.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is like really
Yeah.
nice. This is really, can I put this in my house?
Can I have it, please?
Yeah. Yeah, so we're upcycling it. But so a lot goes into it. What is what does it typically look like? How are people going to find you, and then what are your steps?
They can find, like, often people are like, hey, organizer near me, or professional organizer, and I guess I pop up like number one on the Google, on Google, or they'll see me on, like, I get mentioned a lot on Facebook, and whenever I get mentioned, I always put my name out there, who I am, licensed and insured. Here's my cell phone. I give them my website link, so people can find me that way.
Yeah.
And then when they do, they send an inquiry form. I call them back and we talk. And I ask them, what's going on? What's your biggest, area of concern? And we just kind of walk through the process.
Yep. And then do you like, based off of what they're saying, do you kind of give them a budget, or do you say, hey, do you kind of go there and then say, hey, this is what I think it's going to take 2 or 3 days, or, or how does that?
I always tell people, I can go there and I can give them, like, it could take approximately this, but I never, I'll never quote out a job and say it's X, because I tell my clients, I go, we're fast and efficient.
Yeah.
You're the rate limiting step, right? We will move you along.
Yeah.
We'll keep you going down that sentimental rabbit hole. But if you're going to look at each item and go, I need to think about this.
Yeah.
It's got to go in the maybe pile. We have to go through the maybe pile.
Right.
So we're strictly hourly. So
Yeah.
it's very transparent.
Yeah.
I tell people we can have one person out there. I go, but honestly, minimum of 2, because it's efficiency.
Yeah.
One person is not having to do it all. So there's an efficiency. You get like 2.5 people for the price of 2, and you get the job done quicker.
Yeah. I think that's smart. I love that. If I have to ask you 5 different ways why you're not using this, and it's going to take me extra time, we need to compensate, have that part of it. So that's, and typically how far are you booking out? Is it?
It just depends. Like right now, actually, we just finished a few big jobs, so I have more time in my schedule. Usually I book out a month and a half.
Yeah, gotcha. Is there a seasonality in it? Like, do you have? It's like after Christmas or when everybody has a bunch of nonsense in their house.
This past year we were working like 2 days before Christmas, even up to that point. Yeah. So it's been really, business has been really good.
Yep.
But I think once spring comes and people start getting that, spring cleaning, then it's even more, it picks up more. But then if people are moving. So another part of my business is I'm a move manager. So I help people with that whole process. of downsizing, and I'll talk to Sarah about
Yeah.
all this, right?
Yeah, I kept that. I kept that
Yeah.
to discuss. Yeah, that's a whole other.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
So when that starts, but moving has been,
Yeah.
it's been consistent. But
Well, I think it gives the opportunity to, like you said in the beginning, getting all of your things out on the table
mm-hmm.
to really see. I think it's a good opportunity to be like, let's get rid of this stuff, and
Yeah.
then let's bring this stuff back in and get it organized the right way.
Right. We don't do it. We don't pull every single thing off at once. It's in stages.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's good. I think most people just don't know what they have.
Right.
It's especially if you have a bigger home. It's just
It's easy to fill up.
yeah.
Easy to fill up. Yep.
So then I think I asked this earlier, but is there are you coming in afterwards, or do you find like most people just need that first, hey, this is what it's supposed to look like, or are they calling you being like, I messed it all up?
Well, some people are like, it's gotten a little, it's gotten a little disorganized, but most people are like, yeah, we set up the system and it's working, especially those that have the bins, right?
Yeah.
They're like, it just keeps us organized. They're like, my nanny loves it, my babysitter, whoever loves it, because then they could see, what they have, where it is, the whole bit. I mean, I did one kitchen years ago, and we used all these bins, and at the end, I always show the client, okay, this is the final result, this is where everything is, etc. And I'm like, yeah, here's your taco sauce. And she's like, oh my God, I didn't know we had that much taco sauce. And I'm like, that's because in cabinets, after the first 3-4 inches, it's dead space.
Yeah.
It's the Bermuda Triangle of space, right? Yeah. So to get to anything, you have to pull everything out. That's why bins, it makes everything more efficient. You have to use your space from that 10, 12 inches of cabinetry. Yeah. And so, yeah.
And you have some here. I mean,
I do. I just brought a few different ones.
Yeah.
But like this one has the compartments. Like if people like taco sauces or like, taco mixes, whatnot. I had another person we did all the bars, the Quest bars. He had all different varieties. So we used it that way. You can use it all different ways.
And those look nice. They like a nice quality and
yeah, they are definitely, they're heavy acrylic. They're fabulous.
Yeah.
They're not going to be busting on you. They're not cheap.
Yeah.
And it's an investment. I tell people this is an investment. It's not like it's $2, right? It adds up, but it's an investment that's going to keep you organized for a long time. This here, I actually have one that's a little bigger. I use these, we didn't talk about this actually, underneath sinks, kitchens, bathrooms, whatnot, because you think about it, right? You have all these products.
Yeah.
And we also don't want them leaking on the cabinetry.
Right.
So you put them in here. If there's a leak, it's in here.
Yep.
So, and it makes it easy to pull out. Same concept if it's in a cabinet. We get to pull it out, pull it down, take what we want, stick it back up. So, yeah, all different shapes and sizes. I use, this is probably one of my favorites. You can do the bars, popcorn, whatever, oatmeal packets, whatever you need, you can do. And then we have tons more.
Yeah.
Tons more.
Yeah, so that you can see, that can of soup from 1998 in the back.
And you can rotate it, right?
Yeah,
You're like your own little grocery store.
Right.
Put the new stuff in the back.
You can always pull that out and just, swap it around and have the old stuff in the front.
Yep.
So those are definitely props. Do you guys get into any of because there's a lot of stuff for cabinets, any pull-out shelves, or there's a lot of, when we're remodeling, we're trying to add these kind of into, say, hey, if you're going to install these new cabinets, let's do some nice pull-outs.
Absolutely.
So then that would be helpful. But there is also a lot of aftermarket stuff.
Right. Yeah, if someone wants that, sometimes under the sinks, we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll just get the ones that you can pull out and have a couple of different layers on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of drawers. My dad used to build our houses. He built our houses, and back then, a long, long time ago, he did all drawers. And when we did our kitchen, it's drawers because you get that full extension. Get to use it all.
That's what we really push for if you're doing a kitchen now. Just do all drawers.
Yep.
That even in the, you know, walk-in closets, trying to get a lot of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, drawers and stuff for it, because then it's tucked away too, and it's,
Right.
you know, so I think that's awesome. So kitchens, playrooms, we've got the closets in the primary bedrooms. What anything in the bathrooms that you?
Oh,
Yeah.
use them all the time.
Mhm.
Use all this stuff. And I have different sizes and heights to fit the
Yeah.
cabinet drawers.
Yep.
Absolutely. Because again, a drawer, unless you give it designation, it's a drawer full of stuff.
Right.
It's like a tote full of stuff.
Yeah.
So until you start going, this is where I have my brushes. This is where, I might have XYZ.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do this all the time in the cabinet, in the linen closet, if that's in the bathroom, but do this in all the drawers everywhere.
Yep. And where, because I think we've seen this a lot, maybe at my own house too. All the products you said, like the makeup and all the, like, the shampoos and stuff that, we bought if they were on sale or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we see this because we remodel a lot of
Yeah.
bathrooms, and people just have so much of this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, so we're getting rid of it. It seems like but you were saying you can donate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I donate it to the Strive program. They have to be unopened.
Yeah.
But yep, I give it.
Okay.
Yep, because they could use that.
Gotcha. I think that's good for everybody to know. Get
Yeah.
a box, because you're not using that stuff.
Right. You can
Yeah.
donate it. And
Yeah.
and when we do kitchens, all the food, so often people are going, yeah, it was a COVID buy, right?
Yeah.
We don't eat it. We don't like it. I'm like, let's get rid of everything that you've tried, you don't like, you haven't eaten, you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. And then when we take that food, there's the little food pantries along, like in West Hartford on Farmington Avenue. So I bring boxes and bags of food there all the time, so
Yeah.
that, whoever wants it can just walk by and pick it up.
It's good. It's good for your it's cleansing. You get the energy moving in the house, and then at the same time you're also helping people out.
Yep. Yep.
So it's a win-win for everybody. I had my best TikTok that I've ever had video-wise was don't remodel your home, and it was just get rid of your junk.
Yeah.
Because people were, there's so many times that we'll come in and, like, we'll remodel, and they're trying to change the feeling of the home. And we're coming in for the after photos, and we walk in, and it's just like somebody just already, threw up all over everything.
Yep.
And there's just garbage and junk, and you're like, I can't even see, you just spent $100,000 on your kitchen. I can't even see the kitchen anymore because you've got all this stuff on the counters.
Absolutely. We don't, by getting rid of, then you find your space again, right? We don't need to add on usually.
Right.
If you can repurpose your space, like my house, we had a living room. We didn't use a living room. So I opened up my dining room. We used that as the kitchen. That's where we eat our meals. My living room is now my TV room. It's just redesigning how you utilize your spaces. Yeah. Because we have so much space, most of us.
Yeah. Really, just too much. I mean, it's
right.
It's it just, you know what I'm talking about, because you're in these homes, like, and it's just like, I don't think the average person, the average person doesn't, they know what their friends and family's homes look like. Yeah. But when you're out and about in public and you get to see, you realize, like, a lot of people live completely differently, and a lot of people need a little guidance,
right?
Of just they get a little bit behind. They're really busy.
Yep.
They're working. I can't imagine. You're working. Both the partners, the spouses are working, and they have kids, and then they're, all bringing the kids to all different practices, and then they come home, and it's just like
they're done.
They've got 37 minutes before they go to bed.
Right.
So to hire and bring someone like yourself in to, like, so that 37 minutes that you're home, you feel good.
Right.
and your stuff is there.
Right.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, listen, we spend money on a lot of nonsense.
Right.
Make your home feel good, organized.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. Being organized makes you feel better.
There's such a correlation from. I had a client who once told me, she goes, "My inner world is expressed in my outer world."
Mm-hmm.
And so it's such a key relation. Like therapists and professional organizers, if more work together, it's a phenomenal thing.
Yeah.
Because as I work on their physical space,
Mm-hmm.
it helps them mentally.
Yeah.
And then they can go to the therapist and work on their mental space.
Right.
That allows them to work more on their physical space. So it's this constant cycle. And when we get rid of the clutter, I tell people, like when I walk into my office, it's my scrap room too,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's also the landing zone. If my kids have something they don't want, they just throw it in my office. So sometimes I walk in and I'm like, I can't do anything. I can't be creative. Until it's cleaned, until it's organized, I can't think.
Yeah.
So when you have an organized space, it clears the cobwebs and the clutter out of your mind. It really helps.
Here in the office, the guys that have know me, like I'll go in that cleaning frenzy because I'm stressed. It kind of just it settles. Get everything clean, organized.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just relieves that little bit of
You can control that.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something you can control.
Right.
Right? You're controlling your environment as much as you can. Because some things are not in our control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how it all works, right?
Oh, there's such a correlation between it all. Yep.
Well, Leslie, that was awesome. I think we hit. I don't want to go any further because I think Sarah can get into the buying and the selling side of things when people are moving, and that's a whole other.
Yeah.
That's a whole other fun, little game that you have to play with clients. Just so it's emotional, and now
absolutely.
it's a huge time of their life where it's stressful. So it's, I think being in the home service industry is eye opening, but it's also you're a guide. Mm-hmm. You're a guide for people and their big investment and their haven.
Yeah.
I
mean, you must work magic on what you do.
Yeah.
It's transforming houses.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fun, but sometimes I wish I could just be an accountant. I don't have to deal with any of this stuff. I'm just going to give you I'll give you the numbers at the end of the day.
Nah.
But no, it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. And I can imagine, you have probably a lot of good rewarding stories where people are so thankful.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, thanks again. Why don't you, before we close, just, where you can be, where you can be found and,
Sure. POSH Organizing, the website, www.poshorganizing.com. You can email me at leslie@poshorganizing.com or my cell, 860-830-3478.
Love it. Thanks
Thank
again.
you so much.
Yeah.